All right, so you're thinking about a career as a solar energy sales consultant.
Cool.
We're going to deep dive into RoleCatcher's resources to help you prep for that interview.
Yeah.
So think of this as like a crash course.
Uh-huh.
For interview success, we're going to hit like the most common questions, how to really make your answers stand out, and just kind of sprinkle in some career advice along the way.
It's really cool how RoleCatcher's AI can help with this, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's almost like a personal interview coach in a way.
Right.
It can actually analyze job descriptions
Wow.
and pick out the skills that employers are looking for, and then it helps you tailor your resume and your answers to perfectly match what they want. It's like a secret weapon.
It really is.
Okay.
Okay, before we get to those questions, let's just step back for a second and paint a picture of what this role actually is.
Yeah.
What does a solar energy sales consultant actually do?
You know, a lot of people think it's just sales, but it's so much more than that. RoleCatcher really emphasizes that you're a consultant. You're an advisor.
Right.
You're helping people move towards a more sustainable future. You're not just pushing panels. You're actually assessing energy needs, explaining the benefits of solar, and ultimately, you know, you're designing systems that save people money and reduce their carbon footprint.
So it's this blend of technical knowledge and salesmanship,
Yeah,
and almost like environmental advocacy in a way.
for sure.
Now, let's say you are just starting out.
Okay.
How can someone gain experience to even get into this role?
Well, RoleCatcher suggests hands-on experience however you can get it. So think about things like solar energy projects. Maybe you could build like a small-scale solar system.
Wow.
Or volunteer for a local solar installation. Internships, apprenticeships, those are really great to get your foot in the door.
Those are some really practical tips. Okay, let's fast forward a bit. You've landed the job, you're crushing it. Where can this career path take you in the long run?
Oh, the possibilities are pretty exciting. Okay. So RoleCatcher outlines several different paths. You could become a senior sales consultant, you could lead a team, manage larger projects, or you could specialize in a particular area of solar, like commercial installations, energy storage solutions. Some people even launch their own solar energy companies.
Wow, from consultant to CEO. That's amazing.
It is.
All right, let's dive into those interview questions. We'll tackle them one by one
Right.
and give you the strategies to answer them like a pro.
Definitely. Remember, confidence and clear communication are super important.
Absolutely. Okay, first up, what inspired you to pursue a career in solar energy sales? Now, this one seems pretty straightforward,
Yeah.
but what are interviewers really looking for here?
Well, you know, it's more than just saying, I want to save the planet. Of course, they want to see genuine passion,
Right.
but they also want to know that you've done your research.
Okay.
So you want to connect your personal story to the industry. Maybe you saw a documentary that really inspired you, or you read an article about a groundbreaking solar project. Maybe you've even witnessed the effects of climate change firsthand. Whatever it is, just make it personal and tie it back to that bigger picture of sustainability.
So you're saying it's not just about chasing a paycheck, you're driven by something deeper.
Exactly. Now imagine they hit you with a follow-up question.
Okay.
Like, what are some of the biggest challenges facing the solar industry today? This is where your research pays off. You can talk about things like grid integration or government regulations, maybe even public perception of solar. It just shows that you're aware of the complexities, not just the feel-good parts.
Right. You see the full picture.
Right.
Okay, next question. Can you explain our company's products and services?
Okay.
How do you strike that balance between showing that you've done your research, but also not sounding like a robot?
Yeah, that's tricky. So research is key.
Okay.
But don't just regurgitate stuff from their website. Dig a little deeper.
Right.
Understand their target audience, their unique selling points. Maybe mention a recent project or news article about the company. Even better, try to connect their products and services to broader industry trends that you've learned about from RoleCatcher.
So you're weaving their offerings into the larger narrative of the solar industry.
Exactly. And you know what? RoleCatcher's AI can be a huge help here.
Oh.
It can analyze the company's website, look at recent news,
Wow.
pull out those key talking points, and even suggest ways to incorporate them into your answers.
That's amazing. It takes the guesswork out of research. Okay, question number 3. How do you keep up with industry developments and trends? Now, just saying I read articles online is not going to cut it.
No, not at all. You got to be specific.
Okay.
So name those industry publications that you follow.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe mention a recent article that stood out to you. Talk about conferences you've attended or are planning to attend.
Right.
And definitely mention any relevant organizations. Like, are you a member of the Solar Energy Industries Association? Things like that.
So you're showing that you're actively engaged.
Yes.
You're not just passively watching from the sidelines.
Exactly. And here's a pro tip. Use that My Resources feature in RoleCatcher to actually bookmark those publications and organizations. That way you'll have them at your fingertips if you need them during the interview.
Okay, love that tip. It's all about preparation. All right, moving on to a question that's all about relationships.
Okay.
How do you approach building relationships with potential clients? What sets apart a transactional salesperson from someone who can build those long-term relationships?
Well, you have to remember you're not just selling solar panels.
Right.
You're selling peace of mind, you're selling energy independence, and you're selling that commitment to a more sustainable future.
Okay.
Active listening is huge here. Ask questions, uncover those needs,
Yeah.
and tailor your approach accordingly. And try to connect those features and benefits back to the client's individual situation and goals.
So you're being a problem solver, not just a salesperson.
Right. And they might even ask a follow-up question like, can you describe a time when you had to adapt your sales approach to a particular client's needs? So have a good example ready. Maybe you had a client who was really hesitant about the look of solar panels. Well, how did you address those concerns? Did you showcase some of the sleek new designs? Or maybe you talked about roof placement that would minimize the visual impact.
So you're adaptable and customer-focused. Okay, let's tackle another one. Can you walk me through your sales process?
All right.
Now, this is where you demonstrate that you have a structured approach.
Exactly. You want to use clear language and some of that industry terminology.
Right.
So you can talk about how you prospect, qualify leads, conduct needs assessments, develop those proposals, handle objections, and close the deal.
But you don't want to just like recite a list of steps.
No, you got to bring it to life.
Right.
Give us some examples. So maybe you can talk about how you use a CRM system to track your leads. Or maybe you have a special technique for building rapport, like finding some common ground, maybe show off your expertise in a way that builds trust.
So you're showing your process, but you're also highlighting your own personal skills and experience.
Exactly.
That's a good combo. Okay, here's a question that can make even the most seasoned salespeople sweat a little bit. How do you handle objections from potential clients? Objections are going to come up, so what makes a response skillful versus defensive?
Well, you have to remember that objections are often just requests for more information.
Okay.
So instead of getting flustered, see them as opportunities to educate and build trust. The key is to listen, acknowledge their concerns, and respond with empathy. So, for example, if a client is worried about the upfront cost of going solar, you could talk about financing options, the tax incentives, and the long-term savings.
So you're turning a roadblock into a teaching moment.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to use the feel, felt, found method.
Yeah.
It works really well in sales. You acknowledge their feelings, you relate it to others' experiences, and then you guide them to a positive outcome based on the facts.
Okay, let's move on to a question about organization.
All right.
How do you stay organized and manage your sales pipeline?
This is your chance to shine as a master of time management.
Okay.
So, mention the tools you use, like a CRM, and get specific about how you use them. Talk about your approach to prioritizing tasks, setting goals, and tracking your progress.
Right.
Maybe you're a fan of time blocking.
Right.
Or maybe you use a certain method, like the Pomodoro technique.
So it shows that you have a system.
Yeah.
You're not just winging it.
Exactly. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze this question and give you personalized feedback based on the specific job that you're going for.
That's really helpful.
It is.
Okay, I think we're going to move on to the next set of questions in part 2 of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
Welcome back. We're still deep in interview prep mode, using RoleCatcher's insights to really help you nail this.
Yeah.
And I find it so interesting how these questions that we're going to be talking about can reveal so much about a candidate's approach to problem solving and their understanding of the client's needs.
Absolutely.
All right, so the next question is, can you provide an example of a successful sale you closed? Now, what makes a success story really stand out and be relevant to a solar energy sales role?
Well, this is your chance to shine, right?
Okay.
Showcase your skills. Don't just focus on the numbers. Bring the story to life.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the needs of the client, their concerns, maybe some of the challenges you faced, and how you created a solution that exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
Maybe you helped a family save a ton of money on their energy bills,
Right.
or you guided a business towards reaching their sustainability goals, but try to quantify whenever possible.
Okay.
So did you increase sales by a certain percentage, or did you land a major contract? Those kind of details can make a big difference.
So you're painting a picture of your success, but you're backing it up with those details.
Exactly. Now imagine a follow-up question, something like, what were some of the key things that led to closing that sale?
Okay.
So here you can really get into the nitty-gritty of your sales techniques, your ability to connect with the client and your understanding of what drives them. Maybe you uncovered a problem that they didn't even know they had, or you found a solution that aligned perfectly with their vision.
Yeah, you got to showcase those aha moments.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. Can you describe a time when you had to adapt your sales approach to a particular client's needs? This one really puts you on the spot, doesn't it?
It does. You know that one-size-fits-all approach just doesn't fly in sales,
Right.
especially in the world of solar?
It's so nuanced.
It is. Pick an example that shows you can adjust your style. Your presentation, even the solutions you offer, all tailored to that specific client. Maybe you had a client who was very technical, so you adjusted your language, you gave them all the data they needed to feel comfortable. Or maybe you had someone who was more concerned about aesthetics.
Okay.
So you focused on those sleek designs and those hidden installations that wouldn't be an eyesore.
Right. You're showing that you can read the room and adapt on the fly.
Exactly. Don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can be a big help when analyzing this question. It can pick out keywords like adaptability, problem solving, and communication skills, and it'll make sure your answer matches what employers are looking for.
Super useful. All right, let's switch gears a bit. Talk about a question that sometimes gets overlooked,
Okay.
but it can make all the difference. Do you have any questions for me?
Ooh, this is a good one. This is your opportunity to take control for a second and really show them that you're genuinely interested in the company and the job. Don't waste it with those basic, run-of-the-mill questions
Right.
like, what's the company culture like?
Yeah, those generic ones.
Yeah. Ask questions that show you've done your research, that you're thinking critically, and that you want to make a real contribution.
So what kind of questions are we talking about? What would impress them?
Well, you could ask about their goals for expanding into new markets.
Okay.
Or their plans for incorporating new tech, like energy storage. You could even ask about their commitment to professional development and training opportunities.
Oh, and here's another tip. Before the interview, take a look at their website, read some news articles. Maybe they just released a new product, something you can specifically ask about.
Yeah, showing that you're paying attention.
Yes.
All right, let's take a step back from interview prep for a minute. Talk about the big picture career development. RoleCatcher's guide actually outlines the different stages of a solar energy sales consultant's career, which I think is really helpful to see where this can go.
Definitely. And I love how RoleCatcher provides real-world examples. So you can see how the responsibilities change, the skills you need, even the compensation. It's like a roadmap. It totally is. So let's say you nail this interview, land the job. How can you keep growing within the solar industry?
Well, you got to keep learning.
Oh,
I mean, the solar industry changes so fast, so you got to stay on top of things. RoleCatcher recommends different paths for professional development. You could attend industry conferences, go to workshops, maybe even get some certifications.
Right, so you're always upskilling. You're staying ahead of the curve.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of networking. Connect with people on LinkedIn, go to local solar events, join organizations like the Solar Energy Industries Association.
Right, building your network is so key.
It is. It opens doors to new opportunities, and you'll learn so much from other people in the field.
It's all about being proactive, not just waiting for things to come to you.
Right.
Now let's talk about another resource that can be super helpful for career exploration and research, and that's RoleCatcher's database.
Oh, it's a gold mine.
They have thousands of career guides covering so many professions, including everything related to solar energy. You can literally research different career paths,
Hmm.
look at required skills, education. They even have insights into salary expectations and industry trends.
It's like having your own career counselor.
It really is. And
Yeah.
they also have a massive database of companies too, right?
They do. RoleCatcher has info on over 9 million employers worldwide. So you can use it to research specific companies that you're interested in, learn about their mission, their culture, their values. You can even see if they're hiring.
It's like getting a peek behind the curtain.
It is.
One thing that I love about RoleCatcher is that you can save and prioritize your favorite resources. It's like creating your own personal library of career information.
I use that all the time. It's a lifesaver. You can bookmark those career guides, the skill guides, the interview questions. You can even save specific companies you're keeping your eye on.
It's like a digital filing cabinet for your career dreams.
Exactly.
And speaking of organization, don't forget that RoleCatcher's AI can be super helpful throughout your whole job search. It can review your resume, help you tailor your cover letter, and even give you feedback on your interview answers.
It's your virtual job search, buddy.
It really is. Okay, before we wrap up part 2, any last thoughts on how to make yourself stand out in this super competitive solar energy job market?
You know, beyond the obvious, like skills and experience, I would say show them your passion in a real way. So did you build a solar-powered project in your garage just for fun? Did you volunteer for a sustainability group? Those experiences show true commitment. And RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you highlight those experiences in your resume and your cover letter so they really pop.
Love it. That's a great way to end part 2. All right, welcome back to our deep dive. We've been talking all about how to become a solar energy sales consultant and how RoleCatcher can really help you along the way.
Yeah.
We covered a lot, from understanding the role itself to tackling those tough interview questions. But now, I think it's time to distill it all down to some actionable advice that our listeners can actually use.
Let's do it. Think of this as your like your final pep talk before you walk into that interview room.
Love it. So for someone getting ready for their big solar energy sales interview, what are like the top 3 things they should focus on?
Okay, number 1, let your passion shine through.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to connect your personal story to why you're drawn to this industry. Tell them what got you interested in solar energy in the first place. Was it a documentary? Was it a concern about climate change? Or just a pure fascination with the technology itself?
I think that's so important. People can really tell when it's genuine and when it's not.
Oh, for sure. They can smell a fake a mile away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2 on your list.
All right, number 2. Highlight those relevant skills and experience, and quantify whenever possible. Did you help a client reduce their energy costs by a specific percentage? Were you consistently hitting your sales targets? Don't just tell them, show them with those details, with the numbers.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Numbers are so powerful, they really speak for themselves. Okay, what's number 3? That final key takeaway for interview success.
Number 3, do your research.
Okay.
Really research the company and make sure your answers are tailored to their specific needs and values. You want to show them that you've done your homework, that you're not just sending out applications blindly, that you really care about this company and what they stand for.
You're invested in their success.
Yes, and guess what? RoleCatcher's AI can be super helpful for this. It can analyze the company's website, news articles, even their social media to help you understand what they're all about.
So you're showing them you've got the extra mile. Okay, let's talk about salary negotiations for a minute. RoleCatcher has some insights into salary expectations, but how do you even approach this conversation to make sure you're getting a fair deal?
Well, research is key here too.
Okay.
Use the data from RoleCatcher, look at other resources like Glassdoor, get a sense of what's realistic in your area for your level of experience. But remember, money isn't everything. Think about the whole package, like benefits, commission structure, potential for growth.
Right, the whole picture.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to negotiate. If their first offer is below what you were hoping for, speak up. Be professional, be respectful, but lay out your case. Talk about your skills, what you've achieved, and how you can help them succeed.
Know your worth. Advocate for yourself. All right, as we wrap up this deep dive, any final words of wisdom for someone starting out in solar sales?
This is an exciting industry. It's challenging, but it's so rewarding. You're not just selling something. You're really helping to build a more sustainable future. So embrace those challenges, stay curious, and keep learning.
I love that. And I would add, don't let go of that passion. Let that enthusiasm for solar energy and for making a difference be your guiding light.
Absolutely. And remember, RoleCatcher is there every step of the way, from landing that interview to figuring out your next career move.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive.
Great talking with you.
We hope you're feeling inspired and informed, ready to take on the world of solar energy sales. And to our listeners, we'll catch you next week with another deep dive into a new career. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep shining.